Hi, friends. Welcome back. Today, we're solving a fun mystery. Who are America's real millionaires and what do they actually look like? The book is called The Millionaire Next Door, written by two researchers, Thomas J. Stanley and William D. Danko. Here's the surprising twist. For years, these researchers studied real millionaires across America, expecting to find flashy mansions, sports cars, and designer clothes. But instead, they discovered something completely unexpected. Most real millionaires don't look wealthy at all. They often live in modest homes, drive older cars, and blend in quietly with their neighbors. The book reveals the true, research-backed habits that quietly separate real millionaires from people who simply look rich but have very little actual wealth. Today, we'll explore these surprising findings together, one at a time. Let's go knock on some doors. Before diving into the habits, the authors share one big idea that changes how we think about wealth. Your income is not the same thing as your wealth. Income is the money flowing into your life each month. Wealth is what you've actually kept and built up over time, your savings, investments, and net worth. The researchers found that plenty of high-income people had surprisingly little real wealth because they spent almost everything they earned. Meanwhile, plenty of modest-income people had built up impressive real wealth simply by consistently saving and investing over many years. This single idea, that looking rich and being rich are two completely different things, sets up everything else in the book. The first big finding is, real millionaires consistently spend far less than they earn. The researchers found that most of the wealthy people they studied lived surprisingly modest, frugal lifestyles, buying practical cars, shopping carefully for deals, and avoiding unnecessary luxury spending, even though they could easily afford flashier things. This wasn't about being cheap or unhappy. It was a deliberate, disciplined habit. Spend noticeably less than you earn every single month and consistently invest the difference. Over many years, this simple habit, repeated patiently, builds enormous wealth, even for people with fairly ordinary incomes. The second big finding is, millionaires are intentional and efficient about how they use their time, energy, and money, all aimed toward building long-term wealth. The researchers noticed that many wealthy people they studied spent real time planning their finances, researching investments, and setting clear financial goals, rather than making money decisions carelessly or randomly. Instead of spending significant time and money chasing image and status, they focused those same resources on activities that actually built their future wealth. Budgeting carefully, researching investments, and pursuing long-term financial goals with real focus and intention. The third big finding is, real millionaires prioritize financial independence far more than showing off wealth to impress others. The researchers found that many people who look wealthy, driving flashy cars, wearing designer clothes, living in oversized homes, are often not truly wealthy at all. In many cases, these outward signs of success are financed through debt and constant spending, leaving little real wealth behind the shiny surface. True millionaires, on the other hand, generally cared much less about impressing neighbors or strangers with visible signs of wealth. Instead, they valued something quieter but far more powerful: true financial independence, the freedom and security of having built real lasting wealth, whether or not anyone else ever noticed it. The fourth big finding is about parenting. Children who receive constant financial handouts from wealthy parents often struggle more to build wealth themselves later in life. The researchers use a term called economic outpatient care to describe parents who continuously give their adult children money, gifts, or bailouts. Surprisingly, they found that children who received frequent financial support from their parents often ended up building less wealth themselves because they never fully developed the discipline, resourcefulness, and independence needed to build wealth on their own. Meanwhile, children who were taught financial responsibility early and encouraged to build their own path, rather than constantly receiving handouts, more often grew into financially independent, wealth-building adults themselves. Building on the previous idea, the fifth finding is, the adult children of true millionaires are usually taught, from an early age, to become financially self-sufficient. The researchers observed that wealthy families who successfully passed strong financial habits down to their children usually focused on teaching skills, work ethic, and financial discipline, rather than simply gifting large sums of money. This created a healthy, sustainable pattern across generations. Children learned how to build and manage wealth on their own, rather than depending on continuous financial support from their parents to maintain a lifestyle they hadn't truly earned themselves. The sixth finding is, many self-made millionaires became wealthy by spotting and pursuing specific business opportunities that others overlooked. The researchers found that a large number of the millionaires they studied were business owners, often in ordinary, unglamorous industries like contracting, manufacturing, or specialized local services, rather than glamorous, trendy fields. These successful business owners were often skilled at noticing small, practical market needs that bigger competitors ignored and building steady, profitable businesses around meeting those specific needs, rather than chasing flashy, trendy business ideas simply because they seemed exciting. The seventh finding is, the career someone chooses matters less than how disciplined they are within that career. The researchers discovered that many of the wealthiest people they studied did not work in the most glamorous, highest status jobs. Instead, they often worked steady, sometimes unglamorous careers as business owners, engineers, accountants, or tradespeople, combined with strong saving and investing habits over many years. Meanwhile, some people in flashy, high-status careers actually built very little real wealth because their spending grew just as fast or faster than their impressive-looking income. The lesson here, it's not simply which career you choose, but how consistently and wisely you manage the money that career provides that truly determines your long-term wealth. Let's review everything we learned together. One more time. Wealth is not the same as income. What you keep matters more than what you earn. Live well below your means. Spend noticeably less than you earn consistently. Allocate time, energy, and money efficiently. Aim your resources at long-term wealth building. Value financial independence over social status. True wealth is often quiet and invisible. Avoid economic outpatient care. Constant handouts can weaken financial discipline. Raise self-sufficient children. Teach skills and independence, not just money. Target overlooked market opportunities. Steady, practical businesses often build real wealth. Choose your career wisely and manage it with discipline. Steady habits beat flashy status. The biggest surprise from this research is simple but powerful. Most real millionaires don't look like millionaires at all. They quietly live modest lives, save consistently, and build wealth patiently, often blending in completely with their ordinary neighbors, the true millionaire next door. So the next time you imagine what a wealthy person looks like, remember, real wealth is often invisible, built quietly through discipline, patience, and consistent habits, not through appearances at all.